And now, though, I want to like answer your questions about parent visa process. Before I move forward, actually, I got a question. Several people, many people actually, were asking me about the recent um, AOS memo. I do want to address that because that's very important. AOS meaning the Adjustment of Status um, memo that came out. Um, I don't know. I would say maybe last month, very recently, where the Immigration Service was saying that it's an exception to apply for adjustment of status in the U.S. for certain visa holders, primarily like student visa holders or visitor visa holders. If you came into the U.S. on some of those single intent visas, you have to leave the U.S. if you want to apply for a green card. So that obviously raised a lot of concern and anxiety because we've been applying for green cards for students, for visitors forever, and it was always gone smoothly, no issues. But now the Immigration Service issued that memo saying that if you're on one of these like temporary visas, you have to return. So I've been getting a lot of follow-up questions about that. So the memo is actually still in effect. There was some miscommunication about whether it's still valid. It is valid. They have not pulled it back. So as far as we know, it's still valid. However, it's a matter of discretion to the immigration officer when they're reviewing your application. So I'll talk about what I know. What are the facts so far is that it's a matter of discretion, and a very limited number of cases have been denied in the U.S. for adjustment of status, and that's the two cases I know about are there was a student who was applying for a green card, and they had some unauthorized employment. And then also there was a visitor on a B2 visa who applied, and there were some, other immigration violations in their history. So, I mean, I think right now, if you have a pretty clean immigration history, hopefully, it won't be an issue. But anyway, I wanted to provide that update because we've got a lot of questions about that memo. Okay, so here's a question about, do I need a minimum income? Yes, you absolutely do. So the way to figure out what income you need, the Immigration Service does have a chart. If you go to their website and you look up I-864P, which is for, their poverty level chart, something like that, it'll tell you how many dependents do you have. If you have, like, I don't know, if you have a spouse, 2 kids, they will, you follow the chart, and it will say how much money you need to show the Immigration Service, because you have to show that you can still support your dependents and this additional person. So that is the chart that they use. That's the chart we use to determine, what level of income is required to meet the financial support requirement. Another question that many people have asked is, can you travel if if your parent has this process in place? Because it can take a long time, right? So if your parents in the US, they want to go back home, or if your parents overseas, they want to come visit you, can they do that? So if your parent is in the US and and they file their application, they really shouldn't travel. They should not travel. They should not, outside of the US. And yeah, they shouldn't. It's just black and white like that. So if they leave without permission, they will be abandoning their adjustment of status process, right? And they'll have to pick it up overseas. So your parents and this comes up all the time, right? That parents want to go home, and what you should do is wait. If they want to go home, wait until your parent receives their it's called advanced parole, which gives them temporary permission to travel. Wait for that, and then they can use that and go. And that keeps everything alive. It keeps the I-130 moving forward, the adjustment status process moving forward. If they leave before getting that, as I said, they will abandon the adjustment status part of it, and they'll have to go through a consular process. The other way around is if your parents overseas, they want to come to the US, they want to visit you, they want to visit your kids. No, unfortunately, because they have a immigrant process underway. So we're very conservative in this climate that we're in right now. I would not risk coming to the US if you have an immigrant process underway. And if you don't have a visitor visa, you'd have to go for an interview, things like that, and they'll know that you're trying to become a green card holder, and it usually doesn't go well. Many people have asked how long before I can apply for your parent to apply for their citizenship. So a parent has to wait 5 years, which is really the standard amount of time. So after it's the date you get the green card, it's 5 years from that date, and they can apply for their citizenship. But this is again a whole other webinar, because if they're traveling back and forth, the US outside, it could impact the when you can apply for your citizenship, because you have to have a certain amount of time in the US. How long does the process take? Yeah. So it really depends. The consulate process it really is dependent on how long the wait times are for an appointment with your local consulate, right? So many, they're really backlogged. So even if you have everything approved, everything, you're ready to go to that visa interview at your local consulate, you are subject to, whatever appointment times are available, and it could be a very long time. If you're in the US, it is much faster to get your green card. And also, in the meantime, you also, if you apply for your I-45, you also get your work permit. If they want to work, usually they don't. Their work permit, their advanced parole, and so they can go back and forth. The times for processing, they vary. But the good news is, for several years now, they haven't been holding interviews for parents. So what I would do is, and what they will do is process your I-130 first, and then go to your I-45 Okay. That is all we have for today. It's all the time I have. I know there are a lot of questions about family visas in general, not just the parent sponsorship. So if you're interested, let us know. I would love to do another webinar on any of these other family based visa sponsorship. So thank you so much for attending, and stay tuned for our next webinar.